Good evening. I'd like to call this village board meeting to order. All the trustees are present except trustee McKay at the moment, who is briefly excused. Has this meeting been publicly noticed?
The meeting has been posted and noticed according to law.
Okay, thank you. Our first item on our agenda today is a special order of business. 4A, consider 2019 health insurance provider and plan design. I also would like to remind everyone to speak into their microphones. I've been told I need to remind at every meeting. So, Rebecca or Tyler.
Yeah, I can get us started. Alex Vogry from the Horton Group is in attendance to just go through a summary of where we are at in regards to 2019 health insurance. And then any other points that Alex hasn't hit, I can hit on those afterwards. So,
okay,
go ahead, Alex.
Thank you. My name is Alex Wilger with the Horton Group. I'm one of the employee benefits consultants that works with those Shorewood. I believe Dan Mongovan was here last time. He's a colleague of mine. So kind of how things happened since maybe we were last in front of you. WPS came out with their renewal. It started at 21% above your current rate, so quite a large increase. They were able to come down to 14%, but knowing that we need to get to a budget number that was still less than 14%, we decided to go out and get competitive proposals. Due to the claims history of our group, we didn't have a lot of options, but luckily the Wisconsin County Association Group Health Trust, which is made up of school districts, municipalities, and county governments, came in with a proposal that was about 3% below where WPS was coming in. So if WPS started at 14%, WCA was coming in at 11%, and then we were able to make some plan design tweaks to get that where the budget needs to be. So we're proposing increasing the deductible to $1,500 single, $3,000 family for the PPO plan.
From what?
Yeah, great question. So it was $1,000, $2,000 single family. So it'd be increasing by $500 single, $1,000 family.
And I will just add to that, back in 2017 when we were with United Healthcare, the deductibles were $1,000 and $3,000. So ultimately what we're doing is we're getting family back to the original deductibles that they were 2 years ago. So really, just those single employees that have been on the plan are really seeing a change in that.
The other tweak is then to the office visit copays. So they will be increasing from $20 today to $25 next year for primary care visits, and then $50 for specialists. So who's a specialist? It's basically any doctor that ends in ologist, so cardiologist, oncologist, those types of doctors, because they charge more, the employees will be charged a higher copay. That's $50. So we are recommending those two plan design changes, deductible and obviously copays, and moving to the Wisconsin County Association Group Health Trust. This will get us to an increase of 8.15%. Really quickly before I answer your question, so the PPO plan is increasing at 8%. We did not tweak the HSA high deductible health plan at all, so those rates will be increasing by 11%. So when you look at our total population, where our folks are, that's how we get to that 8.15% number, if that makes sense.
Trustee Amenta.
Do you pay copay for preventive appointments?
No, so that is an Affordable Care Act mandate. So your annual age, gender appropriate physical will be covered at 100%. That includes things like mammograms, colonoscopies, etc. The only caveat to that is if you've had history of like breast cancer, colon cancer, and you're going for a diagnostic test, you may be charged for that, but your annual preventative exams are covered at 100%.
Trustee Bachhorst and then Warren.
So and I imagine this varies by plan, but are referrals required for specialists?
No, this is not an HMO plan, so you can go anywhere you'd like. We obviously want to encourage people to start with their primary care doctor, but if they wanted to go see a cardiologist for their annual physical, they certainly could.
Trustee Warren.
Actually, not a question.
Oh, okay. Trustee Menta.
Can you just explain, I know what a deductible is, I know what a copay is, what is co-insurance?
Sure, so co-insurance is the percent that the insurance company would pay after the deductible is met. So we currently have 100% co-insurance. So what that means is after the deductible is met, The insurance carrier picks up the rest of that bill.
So after $1,000, you've gone to the doctor, and then you go into a hospital, you pay nothing.
Right, so put it slightly differently, if I have a $2,000 bill and our new deductible is $1,500, I would pay the first $1,500 of deductible charges. The insurance company would pick up the remaining $500 of that bill. Does that make sense?
So I have two questions. My main question is, I just read an article in the League Municipality, and they were explaining the state changing on the health insurance, and that plan is being tweaked to make it more affordable. I don't know what those changes are, I'm assuming you do, that are coming down the pipe, but was that the plan we're switching off of? Was that
So we were with WPS, who is a private health insurance carrier based out of Madison. The plan we're moving to is also, maybe private insurance isn't the right word, it's a trust of all other municipalities, school districts, et cetera. What you were reading about is the state plan through ETF.
Yes.
That covers the state employees and other local municipalities. That's completely different. So in order to join that plan, $2,500 to secure a quote. And then once you're in that plan, you're in that plan for at least 3 years, and they can do different rating things like
Have
that.
you
So
looked at that though? And the reason I ask is they typically have the best rates, I've noticed, because it's such a larger pool.
So there's a couple different things. Their rates are lower, but those are all regional HMO plans. So back to your question or your statement, you have to do things like get referrals to go see specialists. They're very narrow networks. So in this area, you're either with WA Trust, who is Aurora only, or you're with Network Health, who is Columbia, St. Mary's, Ascension, Freighter. So it separates the networks. So the costs are lower. But you have to do some different things that employees probably wouldn't love. The other thing is I can't get you a quote with the state plan. They do not work with brokers. So if that was something that you'd want to explore, I can put you in touch with people at ETF, but they do not work
so
with
just
companies like ours.
Like Tyler would have to call. So just for the board, I would like to request that in the future, just to look at that. And the reason I say that is we are so small, and I know last time we asked a different Horton representative, I had asked, does it make sense to join a larger pool to make our healthcare go down? And the answer he had was, well, like for the school, they have a sicker population, or I don't know. The answer was no at that time. But the state in general, if we in the future have any budgetary constraints, rather than cutting and making employees pay more, keep making them pay more, maybe switching into a network is an option. Doesn't mean that we all agree on that. I'm just saying to keep our options open.
I move to authorize the village manager to enter into an agreement with the WCA Health Group Trust to be the village's health insurance provider for 2019 and incorporate the plan design changes to the PPO deductibles and office visit co-payments.
Second.
Does this include wellness?
No, that's a separate item.
Tyler, did you have some?
Yeah, now, President Rosick, to your point, I would like a board indication whether or not for the future years you want that. So I'll say from an employee perspective, that's a pretty big action item. Because with the state plan, because of the networks they provide, network is the #1 concern of our employees. So if we're looking at a state plan that does not provide the network of doctors that they're receiving now, I think there's going to be a lot of concern of employees if we're looking into that. So that's something that I would want direction from the entire board in order to move that direction now, because that's a big action.
The other piece of it too is we can look at narrower networks without jumping into the state plan.
Well, there's reasons to jump into the state, rather than just continuing to narrow your network. I mean, the state plan is, pretty,
You have more people.
yeah, so I would want to look at switching, you're correct. I feel like we would want that information. It doesn't mean that we would act on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like the will of the board at the moment would act on that, but at some point, I would hope that we could ask for just the information for comparison purposes if we needed it.
What I may do, knowing that is a potential, I may come back then in like the summer before we begin to receive bids, so I can get more clarification on that. Because
You do need to let the state plan know by October 15th whether you're joining or not. So
okay,
And then there's a $2,500 fee.
just to obtain a quote.
yeah. So there'd be a budgetary item too. So all I'm saying is, I just want to make sure, I just want to, that's a big action item. So I think hearing that, I would work with Becky on maybe having an item sometime in the summer to start working on that.
And then my second question, which relates, is when I spoke with Becky, she had expressed a concern, which is a logical, factual concern, which is if you continue to keep switching providers, you're not going to get the best quote the next year because it's not, am I stating that correctly? You may not have.
Or we can comment more on that.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern, but unfortunately, in the fully insured market, this is the game we have to play, and I think the insurance companies understand that. It's not like it was just a few years ago where we were with United Healthcare about 5 or 6 years in a row. We had a really lucky stretch where we were getting 0 every year, and it's just, that's not common. So unfortunately, if I had to guess, I would say we're probably gonna shop every other year at least.
So, President, I think the point President Rosen was trying to get is switching every year. In the discussions that we've had with Gordon up until this day, when you hop every year.
Yeah, that's definitely not our goal.
Okay, so that's the clarification I think. we
Yeah,
need to take on that.
so you do tend to get a bad reputation if you move every single year and you're not allowing an insurance company to kind of understand your risk because they're only going off of 4 or 5 months of data. I will say the benefit of joining the Wisconsin Counties Association is it is a trust, so it's going to be a lot less of that roller coaster ride. They have been running fairly well. We're groups that we have with them. The average increase is in that 5 to 6 range, but the highest has been like 14 to 15. So they really kind of take out the ebbs and flows. So hopefully now we can kind of settle down and we can stay with the group health trust for a few years, so we're not shopping every year or moving every year. To your point.
Trustee Munger.
Are they underwriting us individually, or are they underwriting the whole?
Both.
Both.
So they will look at your individual experience, but at the same time, they need to manage the entire trust as a whole.
And how well is the trust, the financial situation of the trust?
Yeah, it's running fairly well. It's running fairly well. A couple other quick benefits about joining the trust is we're going back to the United Healthcare Choice Plus network. So they rent United Healthcare's network. So we'll be going back to that, which we just had last year, which is a great network, not only in the state of Wisconsin, but it's a broad national network that they have access to. And then the other cool thing that WCA threw in is telemedicine, which we've been pushing for a few years, is completely free on this plan. So if I don't want to pay an office visit copay and I have things that urgent care can be used for, I can utilize telemedicine at no cost. So that's kind of a cool additional benefit that we're going to definitely educate the employees on at open enrollment.
Okay, so maybe, let me rephrase my request so I don't make you guys work too unnecessary. Just the facts about the plan, maybe just so we know what the state entails, so you don't need to, you know what I'm saying, like just the,
Like the plan
what are the
designs?
benefits of the plan and what, just so
Yeah.
for the future. My concern is, we have switched now, if we choose this provider, 3 times, and so next year, 2 times. So next year, if our rates increase like they did this year because of that, we just may want to have some options. It doesn't mean that we're going to choose them, because we can never predict that based on our history. And then the last question, I apologize, is the premiums weren't that far off between the providers. Our costs, it was like 11 and, what'd you say, 11 and,
2.5% to 3%.
Yep.
right? Before you did design changes in the plan, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So were you able to do those design changes in the plan for a current provider?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
What
they,
did that-
they came down to like 10.3%.
10.3%. that's
Yeah,
correct.
so it was just over a 2% difference.
So what, can you just state why we're recommending not, since we know it's probably gonna have some negative benefit of jumping, why we're not staying there?
So I was under the impression that we had to get below 10% for budget purposes. So the fact that WCA was 3 points lower before we even started tweaking with the plan design, it made sense to us to recommend moving to the Wisconsin County Association for those budget dollars.
When I worked with Alex, I said, listen, the board right now, you guys work so hard on the budget. So I told Alex that, we're gonna try to hold a firm line here with WPS. They can get below 10%, we'll just, straightforward with them. We'll consider going with you. If not, we're gonna consider WCA. And even for that 0.3, they weren't willing to budge below the 10%. And, 2% You know, I think I put in the memo that it ends up being about $20,000.
30.
Well, 30 total, but for our tax levy, 20, or it was 19.4. So, you know, that was something that, you know, I felt was pretty considerable, and there's some good benefits with going with the trust that Alex mentioned. So I think those were the reasons why we're recommending WCA.
And do they have a built-in wellness program? Like some health providers
Sure.
do, and then they do the biometrics, and we just never did it separate.
So the WCA does not have a wellness platform. However, for other groups, and I have not broached this with them yet, I was kind of waiting to see the direction we're gonna go in. But for other groups, they've done a couple different things. One is sometimes they'll just give you a wellness grant, where they'll give the village maybe $3,000 to help run your wellness program. They've paid for biometrics and others. Now, again, I'm not promising any of those things. I have not had the discussions with them. But if we decide to go with WCA, it's something I would definitely reach out to. And it'd be up to the village whether they wanted a wellness grant or maybe to pay for biometric screening. So they do assist on those types of things, but to maybe answer your question a little more directly, they don't have their own wellness platform.
Does our current provider?
WPS does not, no.
And then does our new, the county, you're saying?
No,
So
neither,
both-
neither
there's
does.
no-
United Healthcare had a program called Rally. WPS does not have anything, and neither does WCA.
And the state, I think, does. So those are the things that